Good morning. It's so good to see you all. I am pleased to have with me the Reverend Keith Pizzuto, the campus missioner at the Episcopal Student Center at Baylor, to talk to us about what it's like being on campus at Baylor in pandemic, what campus ministry's been like, and some good things that are coming his way. So, Keith, tell us a little bit about yourself. Help us get to know you a little.
Yeah, so I've been in the Diocese of Texas now for 7 years. I'm the campus missioner at Baylor. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, go Steelers, and was ordained 12 years ago now. Aaron and I actually went to seminary together at Trinity School for Ministry, and both were ordained at kind of near the same amount of time. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And married?
Married Melinda, and we have 2 children, Gregory and Samantha. They're both up in the north. Well, Sam's in Virginia and Gregory's in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. So, yeah, 2 grown children, and Melinda and I here in Waco.
And you've been at Baylor, the campus ministry there, for 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years, starting my 4th year in June. Yeah, okay. I've been at Baylor. I'm the first full-time campus missioner at Baylor, so it's always been a position that's been part-time at one of the churches in town and part-time at Baylor, and the diocese brought me on full-time so that we could see what can happen at Baylor and grow and reach out to Texas State Technical and McLennan Community College as well.
That's right. Yeah, the Diocese of Texas, just so you know, has a passion about campus ministry, and the goal is to have basically every college campus within the diocese, which is a lot, actually, because it's, imagine, Galveston to Austin, all the way up to Waco, all the way to Tyler, to Marshall, to have every college campus represented by a campus missioner, either full-time or part-time. That is unique in the Episcopal Church, actually. We're sort of doing something amazing that a lot of other places aren't, and so it's really incredible for us to be a part of that and to support that.
Yeah, I've reached out with University of Mary Hardin Baylor down in Belton, and so we've started working with parishes down there to kind of get something going there. Central Texas State and Killeen, we've reached out to parishes in that area to see if we can get some things going in Killeen. The reality is my job is primarily at Baylor, but the reality is I see myself as kind of an area missioner to all of the college campuses in the Northwest.
Well, great. I know the past year has been interesting for all of us. Many of you are in education, so you know how your jobs have changed and how you're a student or you have students, so you know how that's changed. How has being a campus missioner been different this past year?
I've been thinking a lot this year about the story of Exodus. The reason why I say that is because I feel like it's an apt story of kind of Coronatide, where we're in the wilderness. Who knows how long that wilderness adventure was going to last? Is it 40 years? Please, dear Jesus, no. But
yes.
The reality is, we've been in this wilderness, we've been journeying, and the bad news is we're in a desert, and it does feel like a desert, right?
Yeah.
So that's tough. It's been tough. I like people. I like spending time with people. I am not an introvert. I enjoy actually being present with humans. So that has been difficult. But I would also say this, that when you're in the desert, you get a time to envision what the future is. You have a sense of there's a land I'm going to. What's that land going to be? And how are we going to kind of do the work of God in the land that we're going to? And so that's been my kind of primary kind of focus during this kind of Coronatide.
That's great. Your students too. It's been a desert for them.
It's been a desert for them. So a couple of my students took gap semesters, where they literally just were like, we're not coming back for the fall.
Yeah.
And they've had great adventures. One of my students the president of the Episcopal Student Center, Jamie, worked with refugees in Syracuse, New York, in the summer and in the fall, and so they've had, really good stories. Others have done internships, and so the reality is they've all found their way to move about and to get the work done that needs to be done. But yeah, I think it's been difficult for them in other ways. I have a freshman this year, and she said, the thing is, all these people were telling me what it used to be like. Well, I don't know. So it's not like, she was like, I don't know why people keep saying it's unprecedented. She's like, it's completely precedented for me. It's the only precedent I have. So I just find that to be really funny. Like, she was like, people are saying, you're not going to experience El Dia de Oso. And she's like, I never have, so what am I missing, you know? So it's been very interesting in that regard.
I know if you've gone to Baylor campus or MCC too, I've gone to both, it's very strange. You know, usually if you go at certain moments, it's full of students sort of lounging around and, I don't know, doing their college student thing. But now it's like people are walking quickly with masks to get to where they need to go, and then it's just nobody.
Yeah, there's an oasis, yeah. It's kind of an abyss of emptiness in between class time when normally there was just so much activity. But, you know, some things that have happened, we're going to start on Monday mornings doing coffee and donuts on campus, so that's been opened up again and allowed to happen. So, like, some minor outreach to campus has been allowed to occur. That's good news. Now that things are kind of progressing in a good light. The atmosphere on campus is slowly starting to change, I've noticed. The weekly testing, the amount of safety protocols that they've done have been really beneficial in terms of, like, allowing people to have a sense of, like, we've got this under control maybe.
Yeah.
And then the reality is that the you know, just last Monday, Bert Burleson reached out to me, the head chaplain at Baylor. And I kind of introduced one of the chapel speakers. So we've been able to get some good awareness on campus through the connections that we've made, and Bert's been just fabulous for us.
What sort of spiritual, psychological challenges have the students faced, would you say?
Yeah, this semester we did a book study. And it was The Story of Joseph, A Story of Resiliency by Meg Warner. She's in the UK, an Anglican in the UK. And we really focused on that because anxiety's been high, worries and kind of pessimism is running a little higher than normal. And resiliency is it is a bit of a topic of the day.
Sure.
But it's also something that the students were like, look, how are we going to weather the storm? And so we've been, the story of Joseph, his story of kind of the horrid life that he lived in so many regards. The ways
Started out great. There's a lot of bad.
And then it goes downhill.
Yeah.
It goes downhill pretty quick. You know, nothing like getting thrown in a pit by your brothers. You know what I'm saying? Just
and then sold into slavery.
Sold into slavery. Was it the Midianites or the Ishmaelites? We don't know. But, you know, the reality is, it's been, so kind of following that story of Joseph and then thinking about our own stories in his story has been really, I've really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. And the students have as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, things are starting to thaw a little bit in terms of COVID. What are you looking forward to, really, especially in the fall, when, you know, we don't know what things will be like, but probably closer to normal than they are now?
I'm really looking forward to being able to be on campus as much as possible, to be, you know, there's so many Episcopalians at Baylor campus that just don't know we exist. And that's not just the Episcopalians. There are plenty of people who are who really could find the Episcopal Church their home, who just don't know we're there. And it's because we've not been able to get out and let ourselves be known. And so that...
The Anglican reticence is a real problem sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we were in the past doing great evangelism on campus in terms of just being present, being shown, showing up places, being, you know, having ourselves known, and having students being able to kind of lead small groups and kind of get students attracted. And that really kind of has fallen by the wayside, and I'm really looking forward to that coming back in the fall. And then also, the reality is, we have been, you know, in this kind of slow period of the fall and the spring semester of this year. We did a capital campaign, and we raised money, and we've rehabilitated the Student Center. And so
Oh, cool.
right now, new windows, new doors, new everything is going on in the Student Center. So I feel like in the fall, we'll have a great facility to welcome students back
That's awesome.
into.
It'll be really exciting
Yeah.
to be able to start with the chapel as well being
So the
remodeled?
chapel's going to get a new flooring in the chapel, but the chapel was redone last year. So the
That was last
chapel's
year.
been in
Okay.
good shape. The reality is the house was, built in 47,
Yeah.
last refurbished in 1990. It just needed
A
some
lot
love.
of college students
Lots of college students.
since 1990.
Yes, and so
and at the house, just so folks know, and I've had the pleasure of going a couple times. It's a really awesome house and chapel, by the way. The chapel's beautiful, and it's just a cool place to hang out, to have meals together with students. You guys have snacks. You have Cokes and water in the fridge, games. It's a really great resource for college students right there on Baylor campus.
yeah, it's on 10th and Bagby. It's within walking distance of campus, and last year we had students who'd come and do their laundry. There are students that would have study groups upstairs. The reality is it's just a welcoming space for students just to come and hang out with friends, kind of off campus, but in a safe space. Yeah. It's been wonderful. And the nice thing is that as it's been underutilized and we've been able to do some construction, whenever we come back in the fall, everything will be ready to go. And so we won't have to worry about kind of doing the upkeep. It will be kind of rehabbed and even made more approachable for students.
That's awesome. I look forward to seeing it. It's been a while since I've been there, so I'd love to see it. And the chapel as well.
And the chapel is beautiful. Some stained glass windows, very simple space, and really great acoustics.
Oh, the acoustics are incredible.
If there's a dozen students in there singing, it just fills that space up beautifully. And so I'm really, I think we can all say we're looking forward to some singing,
Yes. Yes. Well, Keith, how can St. Albans partner with the Student Center going forward, especially as you think about a fall being packed with ministry opportunities? What can our folks do?
Yeah, there's always meals for the
Cook a
students.
meal for the college students.
Cook a meal for the college
They
students.
really appreciate it.
They love home cooked meals. And then there's also, if you've got a talent, if you're a musician and you'd like to help us lead worship, we would love that. If you are if you're a Baylor faculty member, reach out to me. I'd love to come and talk in one of your classes. I'd love to find a way to kind of introduce myself to your students. If you are, if you're on staff at Baylor, reach out to me. We want to do something where we can have some group of faculty together, and not just from St. Albans, but from all of the Episcopal churches in town, and say, look, we're Episcopalians. What can we do together to kind of, make our name known on campus? And I want to really get that started next fall.
We had talked in the works last year was to have a big sort of thing for all the Episcopalians at Baylor, and then the rest is history.
Yeah,
but
things happen. But I think that might still be possible
Sure.
later in the fall next semester. So there's just really, the easy kind of low-hanging fruit is making a meal. But there's so many other. If you want to give, you can give to the Student Center. You can donate time and resources. But the reality is that we really, if you know students or know people who know students, letting us connect with them is a wonderful thing and really very helpful for us.
The same goes for MCC as well.
And Texas State Technical.
And TSTC, that's right. If you know a student at either of any of the local campuses, please let us know and Keith know so that he can reach out, because colleges is a great time for many students, but it's also a very difficult time, and to have the sort of support that the campus ministry provides is really wonderful.
It is. Every year I get an email from Baylor that says, there are 52 Episcopalians on campus. And I'm like, ooh, but I don't know who they are, and they're not able to tell me their names. So it's kind of like
they're hiding.
They're hiding. It's like, oh. So, by being able to reach out is wonderful and so helpful. I know many of you have, and many of you, I can think of so many people here at St. Albans that have helped at Texas State Technical and have gotten Texas State Technical up and running, who are helping out at MCC, who have done work with me at Baylor. And just thank you to St. Albans. Y'all have sponsored us for many years. You're financial partners as a congregation with the Student Center. And the work that St. Albans has done has really allowed this full-time position to come to fruition and has improved our connection with Baylor.
That's right. And, just the impact of the Student Center, there's someone at seminary finishing up her senior year right now and she's not the only person who's gone through, who is now going to be an Episcopal priest, who got connected with the Episcopal Student Center at Baylor, and that was sort of the kickoff for her faith formation. And that's just, one example of the impact that this can have for students in the future.
Yeah, we have business leaders who have gone through the Canterbury Club and who've looked back and said, if it wasn't for the Canterbury Club, we wouldn't have made it through. I mean, we struggled in so many ways, but there was a refuge at the Student Center, and it allowed us to kind of get through. And there's so many opportunities for students to find their niche at the Student Center, to find some good friends, some people who are like-minded, and who want to kind of grow in grace together.
Great. Well, thank you, Keith, so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
We appreciate it and all the work that you're doing at the Student Center, and we look forward to having you here in St. Albans in person.
Yeah.
Sometime, August, September?
August, September.
And which will be really great. So thanks so much, Keith.
Thank you.
Y'all take care. See you next week at one of our many Holy Week services.